Okay, this is basically been a diagnostic for the ozonation system. Right now we have turned it off by manually turning it off here. We're going to be leaving it in the on position because this timer will turn it on and off as it's supposed to go on and off. This is standard cubic feet per hour of air, SCFH, and when it is on, it should be at about 8, and it should be in the green zone of this dial right here, okay? This J-tube vacuum brake should be filled up from the skinny side, basically to just below this little label. And when it is at that point, then you stop filling from there and you go to the big side and you fill it. You can yank this piece of tubing off and you fill it until just a little bit of water trickles out of that tubing. That's the level it's supposed to be at. It's not a problem if a little bit of water gets sucked through this piece of the T and tubing and injected into this venturi right here. The pump, we believe, is supposed to be left in the on position. It appears that it wants to hit a 50 psi level. When it goes below that, it probably, at some level anyway, is going to turn itself on to just make sure the pressure stays regular. Notice the position right there of the bypass valve. This is adjusted to adjust how much suction is going to be happening in the venturi. And it is adjusted in tandem with this knob right here. So as you move that, you will also notice this little ball that you can see down there is going to go up or down, and you can adjust this knob to make it happen, okay? When this unit's on, and we'll see it in a moment, you'll see lights going on here, and then the ozone output. The ozone output we're trying to target to be about half of the capacity. So I think it's like 5 lights up is what we're going to want, okay? So that's basically how this system works. And what we're going to do now is fire it up. We were having a problem with air getting into this flapper that wasn't closing correctly, so we just opened it up and cleaned it. When you open it up and clean it, you do not unscrew this fitting using a wrench. There's no reason to do that. You would unclip this whole unit from the wall off of these clips. You can take this piece of tubing out, and then you literally just unscrew the entirety of this J filter. Oh, and then take these guys off. And then literally just unscrew the entirety of this J tubing off. And the whole thing will come off, leaving just the white, which is underneath where the flapper valve is. The flapper valve is at an angle. It's mounted with a little plastic center, and then that center has one side that's a little bit squared off, and there's basically a gasket around that, and that gasket has to be 100% clean in order for this thing to shut effectively, and that's what keeps the air from entering the system. Okay, so now we're going to fire this thing up as if we were during a service and wanted to check it, and this is already on, so this should just fire up now. Notice that there is also a power switch under here. You can see the on-off. There's a fuse if there's ever an issue with that. And then that is a check valve on the way out. And there's another check valve on this. So that helps keep water from ever going backward into the system. And then that knob there adjusts the ozone level, which is represented by this. Okay, so here we go, turning it on. So the whole thing comes on here at this point. You saw pressure take a huge dive down from 50, so now the pump is kicking on to do its thing. And what we're trying to do is eventually get to a point where there's not water being sucked up into this tubing. And you can kind of see, I hope, right now, it's kind of hard to see, but there's like a little air bubble in there, but nothing's moving. And that's kind of where you want this thing to be. When you come here and service this, again, you're going to be wanting to check the levels in this device of water and filling it up in the way that we described it in the very beginning, okay? And then there's this checking of the suction of this if we need to do that. But honestly, this thing is going to be telling you what's happening with it. And you can see right now it's in the green zone that it should be, and that it's at 8. Okay, again, green zone and 8. So we're going to assume that this thing is working correctly now. Also notice this top filler has to be at least hand tight to make sure that you're getting a proper air seal on the top. Okay, and then lastly, there's the amount of ozone going in, and that's 5. Okay, so that's it.